All right, questions for Rafael Castro, 12th double-double, and Trey Autry hit 3 threes and scored 12 points tonight. So questions, Patrick, lead us off.
Trey, just kind of start off with, the first half, it felt like, Frank was just saying, it felt like it was 14-8 forever there for a little bit. What kind of opened things up for you guys?
Yeah, first and foremost, as always, just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, allowing everybody to be able to go out there, have a nice, fun game, and obviously us for the win. But yeah, it was definitely a little stagnant for a minute. They kind of got going on us a little bit early, and it was hard for us to get some shots earlier in the first half. But we ended up settling in. Our defense settled in, which allow us to get out, run, get a few easy buckets like that, and then everything else started clicking. So it's kind of just a little bit of those first 4 minutes, kind of getting your legs under you. But other than that, I think we settled in pretty well.
Rafael, what did you think kind of clicked defensively? Because it felt like those last 32 minutes or so were pretty sharp for you guys.
Yeah, coming off of last game, we just kind of emphasized our communication on the court. We had messed up, whether it be a couple switches or letting another team get offensive boards, and we kind of just tightened that up this game.
Scott?
Rafael, obviously only 2 points at half, seemed like you were a little bit frustrated with the lack of foul calls there. What was the message, in the locker room after the half which allowed you to, come out and score in that second half?
I actually just thanked all my teammates, for picking me up. That's the time where you lean on the guys, and they responded, and they held it down while, I was in foul trouble. And I came in the second half, and they found me, and we got the win.
And then 11 straight, games with double digits for you. Can you just talk about where that consistency comes from?
Once again, I just give it back to my teammates, them trusting me and me making the right plays, and also just working on that practice every day.
Trey, we've talked about, your consistency shooting the ball at home, Can you just talk about, beyond the court, just being in like your own bed, let's say, what contributes, to your vibe at home?
I would definitely just say, the familiarity, just being in here day and night, getting my extra shots up. But ultimately, it's really my teammates. Obviously, I didn't really shoot the ball great today. Every single time, guys like Slim, almost actually everybody, but just keep encouraging me to shoot the ball, whether I miss 10, whether I miss 20, whether I miss 30. They have the most confidence in me, and I think that just builds my confidence up also, for sure.
Trey, what do you think of just the defensive transformation that's occurred in this program over the last 2 years that you've been a part of? Because I don't think that last year's team would have been holding anybody to 52 points.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely something amazing. It's even better for me to see just because, I was a part of that team last year where we struggled defensively, and, just all the hours that we put in starting literally June 1st, starting the day that we could get into the gym, it was all about defense. So, it really warms all of our hearts to know that, one, we don't really have to play necessarily great on offense to be able to get a win. And two, that just, all the hard work has paid off, and, it's starting to come to light. And, people like you, other people that are, watching the games can finally notice, our defensive effort.
Anything else, Scott?
You guys were obviously, in the last minute they're able to get the walk-ons back onto the court. How did it feel, just sitting on the bench, seeing them being able to go on the court tonight?
Yeah, it feels great. They're with us every day in the fight. We be locking them up in scout team also, so it's nice to see them go out there, get some time. It also gives us a motivation, to try to just, keep our foot on the opponent and, really beat them good so that, we can get our friends in because, they matter to this team just as much as we do. So.
Anything else?
Yeah, so it looked like in the first half, like you guys really got your momentum going once Christian Jones hit those 2 threes back to back. How were you able to maintain that wave throughout the first half and then later on into the second?
Yeah, I'll just say, those are energy plays, and energy is contagious. So, we keep making high-energy plays, and that just feeds off into everybody, and we just keep it rolling from there.
Scott?
You guys this year have really been able to, pride yourselves on these revenge games. You go on the road to Amherst, really did not have the strongest performance. What was the message, just around the team in the days leading up to this game?
Yeah, I would say the message was, it's crazy. As soon as we lost, at Amherst, first thing that coach said was, we get to play them again. So it's always nice to be able to, play teams again, especially good competition. But it was honestly not necessarily focusing on UMASS, just focusing on the next most important thing all throughout, before leading up to the game. We were just, last year we didn't have the best defense, or last game we didn't have the best defensive performance. So it wasn't necessarily focusing on UMass. It was focusing on our defense, obviously something that we pride ourselves in. So I would say just, before the game, leading up to it, we were just, really focusing on our mental efforts defensively, and I think that's what led to the outcome today for sure.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Geez, like crowd. Where's everybody else? Still eating the barbecue?
Thanks, Rick.
All right, we'll start with an opening statement and then questions.
Yeah, let's get the door probably needs to close first. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to good performance. UMass, I think, it's actually had a really good conference season, and then Curry gets hurt, and it changes their team tremendously. So I appreciate that. What I was happy with is that our guys took the game plan. We kind of prepared for Curry or not Curry, and they took the game plan for not Curry and was able to implement it pretty well. I like our defensive effort. I like our sharing of the ball, and that's fun. And then, as I've told the guys, it's fun to be playing for stuff in late February, March. You're trying to get a double bye, you're trying to get a good seed, trying to get a winning record in the league, trying to get 20 wins, all these things that, have not been, it's not been the case around here for a few years, 8, I think, to be exact, right? So, good performance. It's nice to be in a game where you're not like losing your mind one possession with 2 seconds left too. Every once in a while, that's okay too.
Questions?
Chris, when you look at how guys like Trey and Christian have developed, I feel like these second time arounds are really good evaluation opportunities.
Yeah.
What have you seen from them as they've gone through this thing with more playing time certainly than Trey had last year?
Well, I think you should, as a freshman. In the old days, you used to learn as a freshman, like in practice and getting thrown in every once in a while. Last year, quite honestly, Christian's different because he redshirted. Trey, some of my other freshmen from last year, they honestly played a lot of minutes. Were probably not because they earned a ton of minutes, but because that was our circumstance. And what you hope is that they were hardened by the experience of losing as much as we did. But also they learned, hey, they went on the road to VCU. They did some things, they go to a conference, they go in the conference tournament, and lose at the buzzer. They go on the road at Duquesne, the league champion, the last game of regular season, and lose at the buzzer. So hopefully you're being hardened by those experiences and say, man, I don't like this, but also I need to learn from it. And what are the things that go into winning and not just playing? And I think players, especially younger ones that come from high school where they have some success or AAU, they think a lot about playing and not as much about what goes into winning. And so now you have a group that's learning to win. And that's, hopefully will serve us well down the stretch.
Scott?
After the loss against St. Joe's, you talked about wanting to find that team's edge again. How did you feel, about with that defensive effort coming out tonight?
Yeah, I thought where it showed up was in the game, the focus of the game plan, and our gaps were much better in this game than they were up in Amherst, and I think that was really important for knowing that Curry's out. Diggins is a big threat from the perimeter. Everyone else is more of a driver, post-up guy, and so trying to be in the paint as much as we possibly could, forcing them into some shots that were, probably contested mid-range, then understanding, hey, you got to get to the backboard, and those are hard against them because they're so good going to glass, but thought we held our own there,
Yeah, tonight you got a big blowout win, like up over 20 points, and definitely it's a homecoming game with lots of crowd energy.
Great crowd, yep.
Yeah, and definitely your players played like that tonight, but this is also your first home win in the month of February. So how do you feel like with the games coming up? Like, do you want like your players to kind of think of tonight's game as almost like a message for like the upcoming?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got one home game left in the month. I don't know. We haven't played many at home. We've played now. I guess this is the 4th. The other 3 are against the 3 of the better teams that will play in the league. 3 of the better KenPom numbers. Mason's a 1-possession game. VCU, it's a 2-possession game with about 2 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go, whatever it was. And then St. Joe's, I thought they played very, very well. So, I just think it's a little bit of function of the schedule more than anything. What I would say is we came out of that stretch 2-3, right? If you just look at KenPom numbers, Mason 70s, right? VCU at Bonnie's 100 on the road, VCU 30s at home, at Davidson 129 going into that game, so top 130 team, and then St. Joe's like in the 80s came into that 2-3 with a potential win against Mason at home with some made free throws. Like you'd feel like, okay, we handled ourselves well enough there. Now you go into a stretch where it's, Loyola Chicago as hot as can be on the road, but some of the other teams that were playing, they beat us. UMass beat us. LaSalle beat us already, right? But they're at home, and we've got to be able to take care of business at home and learn from those games on the road.
Chris, what did you think of the start of the second half? Because it seemed like that was kind of a differentiator for you.
Yeah, I thought our activity was there. I just thought our edge was there. We get it from a number of different guys. Just looking at, we play 10 guys, and I think what's been good is we're getting good minutes from everybody that comes in the game playing a role. And what I've tried to tell the guys is like, look, I understand that's not always what you want. Like everyone wants to play 30 plus minutes. But the best part of college basketball is happening right now. You're playing for something. You're together. You play hard. You play defense. You share the ball. Everyone's getting an opportunity. There's a lot of good there. And I thought in the second half, basically we started great, and then the guys that came in, they did the same thing to extend the lead.
Rafael Castro, obviously, 8 of 20 last game against St. Joe's. He comes back, goes, much more efficient from the field. Can you just talk about, the consistency that he's provided for this team, especially down this A-10 season?
Well, what I was impressed with, I think he was 0 of 3 to start the game, and then winds up with 13 and 11, and gets a block, gets a steal, gets an assist. The guy's a really good player, I wish I had him for more years. I will, he's got another year left, but I wish we had him for 4 years. He's just low maintenance, high production. That's a pretty good combination. Low maintenance guy, tremendously high productive guy. The more of those people we can have around here across the board, the better.
Christian Jones, just whether it's Manu Ginobili, like I said, Gail Goodrich, or James Harden driving to the basket, he's got all these different ways he plays, Chris, and he's so young. In other words, he gets a step back three, he gets a foul, he steals the ball.
Makes threes tonight, 17, 5. Yeah.
Come on, even you have to be a little surprised at how well he's playing in 2 minutes.
I thought Gail, I'll tell him he's like Gail Goodrich. No, I give I'll tell you what, I give his mom and his brother a lot of credit. His brother's a college basketball coach, Division II assistant coach. His mom's a wonderful person. And we talked to Christian last year about redshirting. He wasn't so sure. Not in a bad way. He's just like, I don't know, maybe I'll fight it out, whatever. And his mom was in town, and she came in, and I thought, his brother who gets it, who's in the business, the level of trust that they had in us as a staff to say, look, I think this is what's best for him. I don't necessarily know if it's best for us, but I do think it's best for him. And they believed it, and I sort of probably convinced him. And then from there, he really benefited from sitting out. He got older, he got stronger, he got wiser, he learned more. He's been great, and I think the sky's the limit for him. And I do think that trust that they had in that process, which is so rare in this day and age. You get some people, you say redshirt to them, they have like a coronary, they have a heart attack. And yet here's a guy who now is seeing tremendous success. I think really the redshirt is sort of what led to this. Yeah.
It looked like throughout this game you kind of played around with Buchanan Jr. as like a point of attack defender throughout.
Yeah.
So how important do you think his impact on the defensive end is in terms of the whole team's success on the defensive end?
Well, he's a very switchable player at the 4, so like his ability, to play him at the 4 and switch, you just basically get a guard defender out there, which is, I think a huge key and a very good matchup for the guys like a guy like Diggins even, because he's big and he can move his feet. So he's a weapon defensively there at the 4, switching for sure.
Scott? Just tonight being, the last matchup, regular season matchup with UMass as a member of the A-10.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about, the historical?
Yeah, sure. Well, I know a lot. First of all, guys, I went to school in Western Mass. I'm from New York. I grew up. I was, Derek Kellogg's one of my great friends. I I've rooted for UMass hard when I was, 13, 14, 15 years old. I mean, I'm a St. John's fan still, probably, especially now. And one of my great friends is the AD at St. John's, so that helps. But I was, kind of mystified, like most people my age, by the success that UMass was having. Coach Calipari, the assistant Bruiser Flint, Billy Bano, guys I know that I thought it was awesome, And then as I got into coaching, Derek Kellogg, well, even before that, I'm in college. I'm at Westfield, went to some UMass games. Mike Babel, rest in peace, who passed away this year, is another one of my great friends, played there. Ross Burns played there. His brother Tim played for us at George Mason. Just guys that I've known my whole life, my whole adult life or whatever. And, I know they had to do what they had to do for their reasons, but certainly I'll miss going up there. I miss seeing Frank, who I love, and doesn't seem totally right, but I know they have reasons, and I think ultimately it's a loss for the Atlantic 10 not to be in Massachusetts, so. Sucks, but I get it. The world's changing, and we're going to adapt here as well as anybody. That's what we're working on now.
Anything else? All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
See ya.